Is doing good and healthy. So we'll continue our discussion of the third chapter of Gita, which is Karma Yoga. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to bring that into modern context as much as possible by marrying the two different language. One is the language of the ancient Vedas to the modern language. So when you try to connect these dots through that common key, which is the basic idea of this chapter, which is Karma Yoga, it makes total sense. So we covered up to verse 18 in our previous class. Every week we follow 3 verses. And the basic idea is a fixed lifestyle, like the lifestyle of a sannyasi, is not mandatory to the spiritual progress. Who knows or who should be the judge to choose the right lifestyle? It is me. Nobody can say that the lifestyle of sannyasa is good for me or a lifestyle of householder is good for me. It is up to me. And it doesn't matter. If I select the role of a householder and try to meet my day-to-day responsibilities, that karma can be used as a means of my progress. So Krishna said, you don't have a choice in the steps, but you do have a choice in the lifestyle. I can choose to approach the spiritual path as a sannyasi. The difference between a householder and a sannyasi is the sannyasi, because of certain maturity or because of his style or because of his mental makeup, he is not interested in the worldly activities. If you find yourself into that category, sannyasa is a good option for you. You do have a choice. You can approach the spiritual journey as a sannyasi or as a karma yogi. It's up to you. But whether you're a sannyasi or a karma yogi, you don't have a choice in the steps. The first step is Karma Yoga. The second step is called Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga is the first step. And the second step is the knowledge. And it's only the knowledge that liberates you. But the knowledge to happen, the prerequisites is a stable and a pure mind. And it is the yoga that is going to give you that stability and the purity of the mind. So as spiritual seekers, where should we start? We should start with the yoga. And how to start with the yoga? The whole topic was there from verse 9 to 18. So the verse 9 to 18, we saw an elaborate discussion of Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? And because of these verses, the verse to 9 to 18, this chapter is named after Karma Yoga. So Krishna said, living a dharmic life is not going to make you a karma yogi. And living a dharmic life is the basic requirement for every human being. And what is dharmic life? The dharmic life means you should not be doing any tamasic karma. And that is what is dharmic life. You need to do what needs to be done. You do not have a choice on what needs to be done. Dharma. So that is the life of a dharma. So if I take care of my family, if I take care of my health, that is definitely is needed for a dharmic person. But that is not going to make you qualified as a karma yogi. To make you qualified as a karma yogi, the first requirement is you need to be dharmic. That means you cannot do any tamasic actions and you should be doing what needs to be done. You should be performing all your duties. Then, along with this, you should be doing some swatik karma, which is known as panchamahayajna. So you should be consciously doing some panchamahayajna, which is basically some care for others. Typically, I care for myself. There is nothing wrong in that. You should be doing that. Along with you caring yourself, we should be caring for others also. Little bit. And that is what is the proper work. That is what is going to enhance you a little bit. So caring for others, that word is very important. It is not helping for others. It's a sensitivity I should be developing. It is a sensitivity I should be developing based on my understanding that everything is connected together. So that's why he brilliantly introduced the concept called yajna. Yajna means I'm recognizing the universal order. In the universal order, the whole system is not a chaos, it is a cosmos. Every laws are interconnected, and the human being is part of that system, and the whole system support each other. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantuah parasparam bhavayantuah stena shreya paramavapsyasa. When you do this yajna, when you recognize that gratitude, when you understand that thanks, when you express your thanksgiving by recognizing that universal order and being part of that universal order, that is the true thanksgiving. So he said, right? So the whole system is connected together. And we talked about different examples, right from your heartbeat. We take it for granted. Our ability to breathe in, we take it for granted. Our ability to digest the food, we take it for granted. Our circulatory system, we take it for granted. The moment one goes wrong, you will understand the cost of it. If you had stayed in a hospital with an oxygen cylinder, you know how much money it is. Right now, everything is given to you by Bhagavan. You can call it as a law of nature through the scientific language, or you can call it as a gift of God by religious language. It doesn't matter. But the whole idea is the universe is connected together. And when I recognize that, I should be thankful to that. I should be sensitive to that. I do not have any existence apart from the whole system, and I am part of the whole system. I'm sensitive to the whole system. I'm integrating myself into that whole system. This life is karma yoga. So what do I do? I told you, right? Means a child, when the first quality we should be teaching the child is the gratitude. When the child shows that gratitude, it's a culture. So that gratitude is this yajna, being sensitive to the universal order. And we saw the wheel of cycle, right? Karma. We know that the life can move on with only enjoyable goods around. I need to have food, I need to have clothes, I need to have good sights, I need to have good thing to hear, I need to have everything around me. Without that, the life is not going to run. Life will be stagnant. So, annat bhavanti bhudani, parjanyad anna sambhavaha. How can I create these enjoyable goods or consumable goods around me? For that, my effort is required, but along with my effort, some psychological rain is required. Favorable conditions are required for me to create these enjoyable goods. And how can I create that favorable condition? By performing yajna, by committing to karma yoga, by fitting well into this universal cycle, by aligning myself into that universal order. So by performing yajna, I integrate myself into this system. And how can the yajna happen? It is because of karma, hard work. Without work, that yajna will not happen, because yajna means proper work with proper attitude. Karma yoga means proper work without proper attitude. So inherent component of yajna is karma. And from where this karma comes in? Karma brahmotbhavam vidhi. The karma comes from the Vedas. Brahma means Vedas here. And from where the Vedas come from? From the Akshara Brahma, from the Lord of the universe. The universal intelligence provided Veda as a manual for your daily life. So the Veda came from, or the scriptures came from the universal intelligence. Therefore, tasmādasaktaḥ Brahma, everything in the Veda is established based on this concept of yajna. Nityam yajne pratishtitam. And we heard that evam pravartitam chakram na anuvartayati daha. The one who do not follow this, break this cycle. Krishna used a strong term called, means he's a sinner, and that person just lives a wasteful life. Indriya aramaha, that is what Krishna was calling. And then Krishna was talking like how long we should be consciously doing karma yoga till you reach that enlightened state. Because when you reach that enlightened state, what is going to happen? This particular lifestyle will be natural to you. Till you get that, you need to follow that. This is what we have been seeing. Any questions? You're clear with this idea? Because this is such an important thing. And please understand that two verses. Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sampavaha yajñat bhavati parjanyaha yajña karma samudbhavaha karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmāt sarvagadam brahma nityam yajñe pradishtitam. Everybody is clear with that? The wheel of action, wheel of karma. Excellent. So if that is the case, we can proceed further. We can see 3 more verses. So Anu, could you please chant verse 16 to 21?
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Tritiyodhyayaha Karma Yogaha Evam Pravartitam Chakram Nanuvartayati Hayaha Aghayurindriya Ramaha Mogham Partha Sajivati Yastvatmaratirev Syat Atmatruptascha manavaha atmanyeva cha santushtaha tasya kāryaṃ na vidyate naiva tasya kriti nārthaha na kriti neha kaśchana na chasya sarva bhūteshu kaśchidarthavyapāśrayaha tasmādasaktaḥ satatam kāryaṃ karma samācara asakto hyācarankarma paramapnoti pūruṣaḥ karmaṇaiva hi samsiddhim āsthitā janakādayaha lokasangrahamevapi sampashyan kartumarhasi yadyadācarati śrēṣṭhaḥ tattadevetaro-janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanuvartate.
Excellent. Excellent. This is beautiful. Hope you are trying to learn that 3 verses we cover, not by heart, but at least contemplating upon the meaning. And 1 verse you should by heart we are going to see today. So let's try to see the first verse, which is verse 19. Let me share. Okay. So, Anu, could you please chant this once again?
Tasmādasaktaḥ satatam kāryaṃ karma samācara asakto hyācarankarma paramapnoti pūruṣaḥ.
So that topic is over. The topic Krishna was discussing is over. And now he is going to conclude whatever he covered in that portion. What was that portion? You should do karma. How to do karma? What karmas you should be doing? So that is the topic. How to convert karmas into karma yoga. That was the topic. And that topic is over. And he is concluding that. He said, tasmād. The tasmād word in Sanskrit, anybody know what exactly it is?
Therefore.
Therefore, exactly. So Krishna is concluding, not because it is Krishna's words. He is concluding a topic because of a set of logical arguments he put forth, so forth. So he has been talking about karma yoga, and now he is saying that based on the arguments I gave you so far. Tasmād, therefore, what he's saying, asakto satatam kāryaṃ karma samācara. So you have to kāryaṃ karma, do what needs to be done. Meaning, where exactly you are in your life. You might be a professional, you might be a dad, you might be a husband or wife, or you might be a citizen. So you have multiple roles in the society. Kāryaṃ karma means that roles demands certain responsibilities from you. Isn't it? So you are a software engineer with a company. You do have a duty. You're a dad or a mom. So you have some duty for the child. You are a son. So you may have some duty for your parents. You're a citizen. So you have to do some duty. So kāryaṃ karma samācara. So Krishna concludes, what was Arjuna's question? Should I do my duty or run away to sannyasa? So that topic is completely negated. He said, therefore, do what needs to be done. There is no escapism from the duties. So if you think that, let's say that if you are a stock trader, you think that you can be more spiritual by giving up that job and go to sannyasa, that may not happen. Of course, if your swatharma is not that role, you don't feel encouraged or passionate, if that work becomes a burden to you, definitely you should change the profession. I'm not saying that whatever profession you got, you need to stick into that. No. Later we'll see what is swatharma. Swatharma is a topic which is going to give a test to you whether what you are doing is the right fit for you. But you have to perform all your duties, no exception. Tasmād asaktaḥ satatam. How do you perform your duties? You have to do karma. Stopping karma is not going to help you spiritually or materially. But how do you do karma? Asakto satatam. What is asakta? One word that is repeated in the Bhagavad Gita most of the time. And Mahatma Gandhi wrote his commentary of the Gita. Do you know what is it? What is the name of that book? Anasakti Yoga. That is the name of his translation of the Bhagavad Gita, commentary of the Bhagavad Gita. So you do perform karma. How do you perform the karma? With asakta. Asakta means without binding attachment. Don't say that without attachment. Without binding attachment. What is the difference between binding attachment and an ordinary expectation?
Being obsessive and
right. Can you do any work? Can you perform any work? Can you live in this world without the expectation?
No, we cannot.
Exactly. So if somebody tells you that Bhagavad Gita teaches to live a life without expectation, that's a wrong expectation. That is not correct. Imagine you get into your car. When you plug the ignition, press the ignition button, what is your expectation?
Car should start.
Exactly. Is there anything wrong in that?
No.
Exactly. So now, when you press the ignition button, what are the possibilities? The car can start, and sometimes the car won't start. I just told this example very recently, only a couple of days back. I saw one person on a weekend, yesterday only I saw one person getting into a car. He tried to press the ignition button. The car didn't start. He came out, he opened the bonnet and did something. And I saw him kicking the car, hitting the steering. Is that going to change anything? So whenever you take a project, everybody would like here their children end up in an Ivy League or in a good school. So you may put a lot of effort. You may try to send him for SAT classes. You may do all these training. In spite of putting the best effort, let's say that if the child didn't get into a school, most of the times I see the parents are most depressed. I understand their pain will be there. But if you are obsessed with a particular outcome, if you think that the other outcomes, I cannot bear it, that's a problem. When you say anasakti, it is not on the action, but on that obsession. Forget Bhagavad Gita. Go to modern psychology. They also tell us exactly the same thing. You should act without obsession. So this is the fundamental principle of Karma Yoga. And in the Bhagavad Gita way, in the religion way, how do you avoid? One easy way to get out of that anxiety is what? Or that obsession is what?
Meditation, right?
Offer that to God if you believe in God. Believe in that universal intelligence. Because I believe that the universal law didn't go wrong and I will be taken care of. Remember the example I told you? 8 o'clock, 7:30 in the evening, the child comes to the mom and saying that, Mom, I need cookies. That can be considered as a prayer. But the mom knows if I give the cookies, the child won't eat the dinner. So instead of cookies, what the mom is going to give? Dinner. So every prayer we do, every action we do, the universal intelligence or the Ishvara or the Bhagavan knows what is good for us. And whatever you get, of course the child has a right to ask for the cookie. But it is the wisdom of the mother that is going to give her or him, instead of cookie, a healthy dinner. So like that. And let's say that the child has a food stomach virus. The child may be hungry. The child might be crying for food. What the mother is going to give the child? Gatorade. Isn't it? The child may cry. But what exactly is that forces the mother to give the Gatorade instead of the food? Think through that. It is that love for the child. It is the wisdom of the mother. It is the love of the mother. It is the wisdom of the mother. So Bhagavan knows what is good for me. In my given circumstances, what is right for me. If you have that faith, this pressure will go away. So tasmādasaktaḥ satatam, kāryaṃ karma samācara. Do what needs to be done. Then asakto hyācarankarma. When you do the karma, acharan means performance. Perform. When you do what is to be done, paramapnoti pūruṣaḥ. Apnoti means you will reach. Where you reach? Paramapurusha. The ultimate destination of a human being. Paramapurusha artha. The ultimate destination of a human being. So if you follow this lifestyle, what is that lifestyle? You follow the Karma Yoga lifestyle. You reach the ultimate destination or the goal of your life. There are four purusharthas: artha, kama, dharma, and moksha. When you act like this, it is eventually you are going to get all the purushartha, the ultimate purushartha, which is moksha. Such a beautiful verse, right? tasmādasaktaḥ satatam kāryaṃ karma samācara asakto hyācarankarma paramapnoti pūruṣaḥ. What a beautiful verse. So follow this karma yoga and contemplate upon the point I was just talking earlier. The story of that mother and the child, the story of developing that unattachment or that non-binding attachment, and the value of that is going to bring into your life. That's the game changer. And this is where the spirituality begins. Forget about the complicated knowledge, Brahma, Satyam, Jagan, Mithya, everything. It's all secondary. But the first stage is this. Try to develop that attitude. Initially fake it. Try to consciously do the... So what means, if I recap, what am I supposed to do? Avoid tamasic actions. If it is impossible, try to minimize it first, and then try to do that. Try to avoid it completely. Include sattvic action. Develop two attitude. One is Ishwararpana buddhi. The other one is prasada buddhi. This is the essence of karma yoga. We covered an important topic here. Any questions?
Rajesh, just on a quick note, like, so basically this one is just asking to have that Ishwararpana buddhi, right? Basically, that's what it is. Like, we are not like, we don't want to, whatever is that because of God's will, like in the way, like it is, like we are just saying,
that's one aspect, right?
Yeah.
So that's one aspect. But let's say that with Ishwararpana buddhi, if I perform a tamasic karma, that won't be a karma yoga.
Right.
Suppose I say that it is your will, because of that, let that fellow's head broke.
Right.
So it is the proper work with proper attitude. Proper work means no tamasic karma. Inclusion of swatik karma. That is proper work. Proper attitude means Ishwararpana buddhi, prasada buddhi. All these put together, karma yoga comes. Now, if you don't believe in Ishwara, do you believe in nature? Do you believe in the universalism, whatever you call? That's good enough. Surrender to an ideal. That is good enough. And that ideal, the so-called agnostic talk, that's exactly what is Ishwara in spiritual language or religious language. So I was talking again and again, right? So the language might be different from people to people, to culture, but there is a common thread here. Doing the right thing. You cannot go wrong by doing the right thing. This is what Krishna is saying. So do the right thing with a certain attitude, without getting obsessed, without getting anxious. That is going to make your work efficient, brilliant. It is going to make you grow. It is going to bring better output, right? When you follow, prosperity will come. This is the secret of success. If you take one lesson and teach people from Bhagavad Gita, it is this lesson. This is the game changer lesson of the Bhagavad Gita, at least for me. Any other questions?
Rajesh, one question. So not just when we are doing sattvic actions, but also when we are doing rajasic actions, we have to have the proper attitude, right?
Absolutely. Any karma you do, you have to have proper attitude.
And that is where I find difficulty, because sometimes I forget, sattvic actions are, at least.
Absolutely. I had the same problem.
Are there any tips that you would recommend?
Absolutely. The tip is, at least try to do the swatik actions first.
Okay.
This will come automatically, eventually.
Okay.
And every day, take 5 minutes to contemplate. Remember, I gave you a technique called FIR, right? Like
Frequency, is it frequency, intensity, and regularity?
right. Yeah, exactly. So that is what, how frequently you get, I mean, your control you lose. That is very important to understand. And when you lose the control, how deep you lose.
Correct.
Third
Right.
thing is, once you lose it,
Yeah.
what is the recovery time?
Right. Right.
FIR. So this
Yeah, that's
formula,
recovery, not regularity. Yeah.
no, it is the recovery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you see that slowly, yes, the frequency will come down, the intensity will come down. I used to say,
Correct.
right, earlier, there is a Malayalam movie. In that movie, there was a divorce happens because the biryani was a little bit hot. So some people, they get upset if the tea is a little bit hot. I saw husband and wives. The wife is so scared to give anything to husband, as if like a tiger. Olden generations, you might have seen such people, right? Anybody experienced, like, when the head of the family comes, the whole house will be quiet. 2 generations back, you could see that, right?
Right.
So see, this is what it is. So you see that these things will come down, and eventually you will see that the life becomes a flow. Life becomes a flow, right? When things started flowing, when the frictions are reduced, when it is properly oiled, you see that there is a flow. Right now, everywhere it is friction in our life.
Right.
And karma yoga is the means. It puts the right lubricants and makes the life flowing properly. And that's how the life should do. We don't know how to live our life. And then we try to correct the whole world. No way. So again, I'm taking time on this topic because this is directly connected with the life. This is what the value of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so Anu, let's go to verse 20.
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि.
Another beautiful verse. Just to negate the whole idea that the spirituality is just limited to sannyasis. Krishna gives a few examples. So a few practical examples. And then he is going to talk about himself as an example. So he tells, karmanai vahi samsiddhi, karmani eva hi. It is just because of karma. Karma here means the path of a life, means householder. Karmana eva hi samsiddhi, astita janakadayaha. There are a lot of people in the history of humanity who attained the highest pūruṣaḥ, which is smortha, by following the path of the lifestyle of a householder. One example he calls out. Karmana eva hi samsiddhi astita. So samsiddhi means the ultimate destination. That siddhi, that goal, or whatever the destination is attained by the performance of karma alone, meaning by following the path of the lifestyle of karma. You have to understand, right? There is a choice in the lifestyle, but there is no choice in the steps. So by following the householder lifestyle, there are several people in the world who attain the highest path. And one such example is given, Janaka Adayaha. Adi means etc. So, for example, you look at the King Janaka. At that point of time, Krishna quoted an example. Who is King Janaka? Anybody who has Puranic knowledge, can you tell me?
Mithila's Sita's
Jivanmukta, Sita's dad,
Sita's
father.
father, right? Father means Sita's, like he's the one who brought up Sita. He was the son of Mithila, and he was known as Raja Rishi, a sage in the royal form. So a lot of people, I heard somebody telling me the other day, yeah, my responsibilities is not allowing me to follow the spirituality. So sit for a second. Look at the life of a president or a prime minister. What would be their life? Can you think about the life of the day of the one day of the president of United States or the prime minister of India or any other?
Very busy.
Very busy. So you can watch a show called Designated Survivor. I don't know whether anybody watched it. It's so you can see, right? Every day morning he gets up. You get hit from multiple sides, right? Sometimes it is from the press, sometimes it is from the other country, sometimes it is from the family. Everywhere it is problems after problem. It's a firefighting life. So imagine King Janaka. In that firefighting life, managing one family itself is difficult. So managing a nation, how difficult it is. So in that state, he was a self-realized master finally. He didn't drop his job. He didn't dedicate his life 24/7 in studying scriptures, but he was living a life of karma yoga, or that ideal, the path of karma yoga, upasana yoga, jnana yoga. How he got into that stage, that's where I recommend that book, Janaka and Ashtavakra. That book brilliantly tells how Janaka got into this stage. How he turned into that spiritual person, that story, his encounter with Ashtavakra is very important. So Janaka is a classic example. And in our scriptures, there are several examples given. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, another example given was Ashwapati. There was another king who was revered more than a king. And then actually in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is another story of Ajatashatru, another king. So there were a lot of kings who led the life of a householder and sometimes achieved more spiritual progress than a dedicated monk. So that's why karmana evahi samsiddhi astita janaka adayaha. In the history of modern world, there are in Roman Empire, actually I forgot the name of the king. There was an empire. In the Greek history, they talk about one king. But I just wanted to bring your attention to one book. There is a brilliant book called Republic, authored by Plato. Anybody, you all heard of that book, right? It is considered as one of the classic. So in that book, he tells how a ruler should be. He tells a ruler should be a philosopher ruler. And the characteristics exactly match the characteristics of a spiritual practitioner. So he tells a king or a ruler should be a philosopher ruler. And he tells if the king or a ruler is somebody who follows dharma, who follows the lifestyle, that is going to make the state very, very good. Quoting this, one of the modern philosopher and one of the most known agnostic of the world, Bertrand Russell. You all heard of him, right? Bertrand Russell. He said, India was so lucky when it got elected Dr. Radhakrishnan as the second president of India. He quoted from the book, this Republic, and said, a ruler should be a philosopher ruler. And he said, it is nice to see that India chose the second president as a philosopher president. And Dr. Radhakrishnan, as you all know, is one of the most genius spiritual master. He had written so many he authored a lot of books, including he wrote a brilliant commentary of Gita. I refer that book very often for our class. So there are people like that. So karmana evahi samsiddhi astita janakadayaha. And how should one work? Loka sangraham eva api sampashyan kartum arhasi. So such people, how do they act? Loka sangraham. Sangraham means care, well-being. As I said, like typically I care for myself. Everything I do, including the prayer, is typically for what? For caring myself. Don't you disagree? There is nothing wrong in that. I'm not saying that. There is nothing wrong in that, and you should care yourself. Who else is going to care for you if you don't care yourself? So we should care for ourselves. What karma yoga is saying? Think about this. Rajasic karma, is that nishikta? No. You can do the Rajasic karma. What is the purpose of Rajasic karma?
It is to lead the life like whatever we are supposed
To
to
think,
do, right?
to care myself.
Yourself along with others, but
No.
yours is primary, right? Care oneself
Rajasic
is
karma
primary.
means I am the beneficiary.
Yeah, I'm the beneficiary.
Right. But I'm not hurting anybody. That's all. So Rajasic karma means I'm caring. Rajasic karmas are designed for caring myself. Now I say that, okay, educate my kid. It is yourself, your family. So along with that, when you do Swati karma, you're extending that care. You're extending that care to some other people. Think about this. This is very important. Think about this. Everything in you, everything you have is given by Ishvara. Don't tell me that you created it. Right from the oxygen. Every resource you have is given by Ishvara. And how do you thank him? One way of thanking him is look at the creation and try to support the needy. That is the greatest prayer. When you do the Panchamahayajna, there is no bigger worship than that. So you're expressing your thanksgiving. It is not that you are helping somebody. Please. It is caring. That caring comes from that sensitivity. And that caring is my worship to my beloved Lord. So when I do that, Loka Sangraha, I'm carrying the Loka, the man. I don't, God don't need anything, right? The other day we saw, what was that Arati? Tera tuchuko arpana. I'm taking your stuff and offering to you. And we joked. You're going to somebody's backyard, pull out all the flowers and gifting that flower to him. That's exactly what we're doing, to be sure. So when you try to be sensitive to the other members of the community, when you're sensitive to the nature, when you dedicate to prayer, when you learn the scripture, that's the greatest worship. And that is what is known as Loka Sangraha. Loka Sangraha evapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. You need to act with a care for the Loka, the universe. So Janaka and other people attained the highest state by following the path of the householder, not the path of a sannyasi. And how did they act? They, along with themselves, they extended their care to the other members of the community and the universe. That's the lifestyle. Can't you see? We are redefining the spirituality here. So Krishna is redefining the spirituality. It is not the spirituality that a lot of people wanted to hear or a lot of people were thinking. This is the real spirituality of the Gita. We all should be proud of. There is nothing like this anywhere. Extending your day-to-day life. And when you talk about care, don't tell that the charity came, we imported charity from somewhere. Yes, other tradition has charity and we love and respect it. But we have it here in the most ideal way. So that's the verse. So let's chant that verse once again and then we will go to the next verse. So Anu, could you please chant this verse once again?
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि.
So karmani evaha samsiddhi. Indeed, by following the path of action, Janaka and others attain the highest. So what do you need to do? So you need to do loka sangraham eva api. You need to think about the well-being of everybody or care of everybody and act. And this verse, verse 21, please try to by heart this verse. This is such an important verse. So let's hear from Anu.
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते.
Let's chant one more time, Anu. This is such an important verse.
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते.
This is such an important verse. It tells why should you follow this lifestyle. That's very important. So he tells yat whatever acharati sreshta, whatever performed or does by a shreshta purusha, a person. A person means a mature person or a person whom other people are looking up to. Tat eva itara janaha. So yad acharati sreshtaha tat eva itara janaha. So what does that mean?
People would follow someone who are...
Exactly. So if you're a dad, your small child is looking up to you. Whatever you do is going to inspire him more than whatever you speak.
We say, yeah.
Typically, the parents, what they do?
We say some... Typically, say
A lot of parents will say the child to pray, but when the child look up to the parent, they will be watching TV. Is that going to work? If your department head, if he is not doing any work and ask you to do every work, is that going to be a good model? People will follow your action more than your words. That is the simple meaning of this verse. And don't think that I am not a leader. Everybody is a leader. Everybody is a leader. There will be somebody who is looking up to you. So whatever you do, other people will try to imitate. And the whole modeling concept in the modern world. Why do they hire a big sports person or a movie actor for endorsing a product? Have you ever thought of that?
Wider reach, right?
Yeah, wider reach. Why?
Because people
People will
recognize
follow
them.
what he tells. Because he's a person whom other people are looking up to.
The role model.
Exactly. That is the problem. So whatever a person, when you go higher, your responsibility is much, much higher. Unfortunately, in the modern world, the politicians and the movie actors or the sports person, they are not the ideal model. But unfortunately, that's what people follow. The shirt they wear. Even in the spiritual world, people used to do that. Whatever a great master used to see. I'm not making fun, please pardon me, but I want to give you a very, 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 very specific example which we all can relate to. You know Swami Dayananda, he is one of the most revered master of the modern times. And you can see, he used to put his robe on the top of his head. You see most of the people in that tradition, they follow that. Even such minor thing, people imitate. So whatever a leader does, other people follow. When the spiritual master makes a mistake, it's 10 times dangerous. So once again, then you may tell, I'm not a leader, I'm nobody. But there are few people looking up to you, your own children. There are people who respect whom respect you. Without them knowing, your actions are going to influence them. Then what is the second line? What means he tells, yat acharati shreshtaha tat eva itara janaha. Whatever an important person or a shreshta purusha does, other people follow. Sayat pramanam kurute loka tatanu vartate. Whatever that person set as a standard, the world follows. See, after Jawaharlal Nehru, that suit, or I heard, means it's much beyond
Nehru.
me, so I don't know.
Nehru jacket.
Yeah, that jacket became popular. In the modern age, right, means the Modi kurta. I'm not saying that it's bad or good or bad. I'm just saying that whatever people follow, the leaders do, people follow. And whatever that they set as standard, the crowd will follow. So Krishna tells everybody has a responsibility to the society. So whatever, I should make sure that I do right action. First is, of course, that is what is to be done. Second thing is that otherwise the damage is not just limited to you. The damage can be much larger. So as a parent, as a family member, I have a responsibility. I need to be happy. I need to be contented. I need to be engaging with the family. And my action should be committed to dharma. People should see that I'm doing dharma. More than my likes and dislikes, it is dharma that drives my action. And try to live this lifestyle. You will see the changes even within the family. Anybody disagree with this idea? The man is basically an imitating animal. They try to imitate everybody. And that's exactly what this verse means. So we saw 3 verses. So Krishna concluded this topic. The first thing he said is, tasmādasaktaḥ satataṃ kāryaṃ karma samācara. So perform the action without any binding attachment. That's point number 1. And then he tells, asakto hyācarankarma paramapnoti pūruṣaḥ. When you perform action without that binding attachment, you will reach the highest goal of human life. Then just to remove any doubts about the possibility of people thinking that spirituality means you have to throw everything and go to Himalayas. He said there are historical facts that so many people have reached the highest by following the path of householder. For example, Janaka is one example. And you need to act by considering the loka sangraha. We talked about the idea of care. Care for myself is good, but a little bit care for the other members, the other aspects of the universe. Finally, we said we do have a moral obligation also, because whatever is performed by a Sreshta Purusha is imitated by other people. So they say, right, whom do you want to be? A warning or an inspiration for people? In family, they say, right, don't become like that uncle. They say you don't want to be like that also. So, loka sangraham evapi sampashyan kartu. These are the 3 verses we saw. You like this chapter, right? This chapter is so good. It's not a lot of metaphysics. It is life. That's the beauty of this chapter. Okay, any questions? Beautiful. So we will send out the message. Next Saturday, we have the Happiness Day celebrated by UN. So please join the event. We have wonderful speakers lined up, including Swami Swarupanandaji of the Global Head of Chinmaya Mission. Then we have Dr. H.R. Nagendra, one of the most knowledgeable yoga teacher in the modern world. And we have many other people. So next Saturday, it's a free event. It will be live on YouTube, United Consciousness channel. We'll send all the details. Please share that with your friends and family also.
Rajesh, it's for 3 hours, right? If I'm not wrong.
Okay, it is there for 3 time slots. One is the India time, second is Europe time, third is US time. Every event is 3 hours. You pick and choose what is good for you. We'll publish the schedule in the next 1 or 2 days. Pick and choose. There's a lot of cultural activities. And this time the cultural activity is truly global. You have Chinese program, you have Brazilian program. People all over from world is attending it, etc. We'll send the details.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Okay.
Thanks, Rajesh.
Okay. So have a great week. We will continue our discussion on chapter 8 on Tuesday and Atma Bodha on Thursday. But
Thanks,
please
Rajesh.
contemplate upon these 3 verses. Thank you.